Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakach Kodash. Double honor to the apostles, bishops, elders, GMS. And I just want to touch on this real quick. It was I believe the elder said it was a skit, and it didn't really look like it was a real video, but I think it was, I don't know who was posted by. I think it was ISUPK. I'm pretty sure, but it was a skit about where where the dude came up and was trying to, say he was Irish and whatever the case may be, but the skit was kind of like brushing off that, people that look so-called white, or just any other nations, like I got hiccups, that look like the other nations, sorry, I have brain fog, that looks like the other nations can't be Israelites, right? And I don't know, we touch on it and we say it a lot, starting off with the apostles on down, apostles, bishops on down, elders, that it doesn't matter about what you look like on the outside. So, because I don't know why Israelites, I don't get why people have a problem and just can't understand it, is you can look like anything on the outside. You can look like anything on the outside, right? Because your skin color, your physical appearance does not matter. It can be an indicator. That's all it can be. It's an indicator. You can look like anything in your nation, and your bloodline, your lineage goes back to something completely else. Jacob, what these other people just fail to realize is the Israelites, we're talking about the Israelites specifically, and just people in general, but we're focused on the Israelites, have been scattered across the whole entire earth. Been scattered. And so what happens when you go to a land and you're there for, let's say your lineage was there for like 50, 70 years, what do you think is going to happen? Let's say you were scattered and you're in China. More than likely, you're gonna end up dealing with a woman, or dealing with multiple women, right? And then eventually it's gonna be one woman that you get serious with, or whatever the case may be. You might end up having kids, right? Now your first kid might have a little kind of slight chinky eyes, might still have the brown skin, kind of the woolly hair, or a little curly mixture, right? And they might end up learning the language. Right, might end up learning the language. But guess what? If you're a so-called black person, or from any of the tribes, right, that baby is going to be an Israelite no matter what they look like. But now, let's say if it's a male child. Now, when he grows up, let's say he knows, Chinese. He already has that kind of like, he looks like he's so-called mixed, because that's not really a thing. That's not even. It's not a thing at all. Because you only get your race, your lineage is determined by your father, which I'm gonna pull up something. When that happens, now you're in the land. Now he gets 18, 19, 20. He's in his 20s, and now he might end up dealing with a Chinese woman, Moab. Right? He might end up dealing with him. So now he's already, kind of, lighter complexion. So now he deals with, another Moab, another Chinese woman, so-called Chinese woman. Now what? Now the baby might come out, might have more slanted eyes, might have your, the woolly hair texture, whatever the case may be, but the skin tone, might go a little off, might have freckles, whatever. Let's say he has a son. So now your grandson. And then you see it goes so on and so forth. But let's say he moves to a different part of China, whatever the case may be, and he ends up dealing with a white woman, or whatever the case, Edomite woman. You see, you can see how easily, and then especially over generations and generations, how the kids will start to slowly stop looking like like the typical standard Israelite. So let's say you from the Southern Kingdom, the typical, brownish, skin tone, the woolly hair, the dark eyes, whatever the case may be. You might have colored eyes, you might have freckles, or whatever the case may be, the black hair, brown hair, whatever. So the kid is gonna slowly start to stop looking like the so-called typical look, right? So now, fast forward now that generation by like 10, 20, 30 years, best believe that now the kids, their grandkids, they're not gonna look like Israelites. They're gonna look like wherever the land that they were scattered and the women that you were dealing with. But does that mean that they're not Israelites? No, that does not mean that they're not Israelites. They're still Israelites. It doesn't matter about what they look like. It's about their seed line, because the seed line goes back to the Southern Kingdom. And let's just say he was Benjamite, right? And he was in China. And it's such an easy concept to understand, but for some reason that these Israelites and people of the world too, because I've had talks with people and be like, well, it doesn't really matter what the person looked like. Obviously, I didn't get into the scriptures and do all the other stuff because we were just talking about, skin color and pigment and stuff like that. But like, it really doesn't matter about what the person looks like, because it's about what they see goes back to. And people can't grasp that. People are so stuck on the outward appearance that is it not possible that this person, grandfather is, was a super dark person, but then over the years, when you're in the lands that you're scattered into, you're gonna deal with the women, and then you might end up picking up another language or whatever the case may be. That happens. It's normal. But for some reason, people can't grasp that ideology and that concept, because it's far-fetched to them. Because if you don't look like this, then you can't be that. Which that's just not how that works. But I want to get the scattering, right? Because this is one of the consequences of the disobedience, because we went off, right? This is Deuteronomy 28. And another elder brought it up in this video. But I also want to get something. Deuteronomy 28 and 64. It says, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other. It says, and there thou shalt serve other gods. It says, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But the Lord shall give thee there trembling heart and failing of eyes and a sorrow of mind. And I didn't have to read that, but I just wanted to add that in. But the whole point was that the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from one end unto the earth, even unto the other. Right? That's what's going to happen. The four winds, north, east, southwest, all over. It says among all people. Jake is going to be in places where you think people are not. They're going to be in Alaska. Up in Alaska, Jake in Alaska. It's Jake in all other countries, continents. Jake is literally everywhere. You don't realize how, people really don't realize how big, the slave trade was. Because that's what brought in that. Jake was being shipped and sold. Family was being, dispersed all over the earth, man. And then eventually, they're going to lay down with the women. And then after generations and generations go by, then eventually they're going to stop looking like Israelites. That's just how that goes. It's not really a hard, concept to grasp. But because every Israelite, even now, even in Babylon, right? Because since this is like and not since it is the melting pot, all the nations come here. Even in Babylon, there's so many Jakes that walk around that you don't think that are Israelites, but are Israelites. I mean, you really just don't know unless you inquire and ask about their lineage and their background, because you just can't tell just by looking. So like I said, skin color, only thing that skin color can be is an indicator. And even that can be wrong. It indicates, okay, this person's darker. They have this type of accent. They this. So they're probably from here. Even the people that I work with, I got two people that I work with that look like, well, they could still be Edomites, but they're from Africa. They have the accent, but they're fucking Esau or maybe Edomites. They might be Jake. Who knows? They're from Africa, and you would not guess that they were from Africa. They don't look like it. They have accents, so you can probably tell they're from somewhere. But no, these people from Africa. They could be Hamites, from Edomite-looking Hamites. Or they could be just Edomites from Africa, or they could be Israelites. Edomite-looking Israelites. You see, it does not matter about what you look like. I don't know why there's such a hard concept to get it. It's not. It's all about the lineage. And I want to get this, right? Because the word semen, I looked up semen etymology. It says late Middle English. It says from Latin, literally seed. From sere, it means to sow. Right? But it means, semen literally means seed. And when you go further, it says the word semen originates from the Latin word semen, meaning seed. It says this Latin term has a broader meanings, including race, offspring, and origin. That the Latin semen is derived from the Pro-Indo-European root se, meaning to sow. And what do? You sow your seed, right? You know, you ain't get graphic with. You do the 1-2, right? And you shoot off your seed, your offspring, into the women. Right? And that's really what it means. So the word of semen literally just means seed. That's all it means. And when you have a seed of something, let's say you have an apple tree or a pomegranate, anything, man. Let's just say an apple. You eat the apple, you kick out like the 6-7 seeds in there. Let's say you have the six seeds, and you go plant them in different states. Is it going to, no matter where you put, let's say you put, forget the state, let's say you put one, let's say you put three in the U.S., and you put 3 in the other countries, So when you go to get ready to go gather the fruits, let's say you put one in Canada, and you put one in Ohio. When you go to Ohio to go gather the fruit, what is it going to be? Is it going to be oranges? No, it's going to come after the seed that you planted in the soil, right? And put it in quicker terms, the woman really is the soil, right? And the man, the semen is the seed. Because what is the seed? What does the soil do? It nurtures. It gives the nutrients. It gives it the home for it to grow. And that's the same exact thing, the woman. You put your seed in the woman, and then her, in her womb, it gives the vitamins, the nutrients, and everything for the baby to grow. Right? The soil doesn't determine what produces, what's going to produce from it. It's what you put in that soil. And it's the same thing with the women. It's what you put in that woman, which is going to determine what come forth. Right? The men can bring back, you can have every nation of woman and bring in every woman that you lay down with is going to bring forth an Israelite. Women only bring forth the race. And that's not hard to understand. So I try to put it in those terms so you can understand, because it's literally what the word semen means. So it doesn't matter about what you look like. That does not matter at all. Because the Israelites has been scattered. They're going to look like everything. There's going to be Israelites speaking all types of different languages, because we've been everywhere. We've been in all the lands. This is Hosea 7:8. It says, Ephraim, he hath mixed himself among the people. See, hath mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake and not turned. Let's see here. want to see what this says in NLT. Let's see what it says. It says, this is Hosea 7 and 8 in NLT. It says, the people of Israel mingled with godless foreigners. It says, making themselves as worthless as a half-baked cake. I don't like that translation. Do you see? So that's the point. And the cake not turned, what does a cake not turned look like? Because when you're baking a cake, what is it? It gets light and then it gets darker. That's what it is. You ever realize that there, the bottom of the cake is where the lighter pigmentation is, and then when it gets closer to the middle, the top, that's when it gets darker. You see? It's not hard, man. And people fight tooth and nail over that. Because at the end of the day, this is what matters. When you talk to people and you get to know them, their spirit is going to, bear witness with them. Because I've had people that I worked with. He was even when I first met him, the coworker that I worked with last year. I met out in was it Atlanta? I think it was Atlanta. I met him out in Atlanta, and he about I think he's like an inch taller than me, or about the same height. He has red hair, a ginger, freckles, red freckles and stuff. Looks like a typical Edomite. But when I talk to him, one of the first things that I've noticed about him, like, I told him, I was like, you got a different spirit about you. That's the only thing I told him. I said, you got a different spirit about you. He doesn't act like a typical Edomite. You know how Esau is. I said, you got a different spirit about you. Right? Because he didn't act like it. But on the outside, he looked like an Edomite. But more than likely, I don't think he is. I don't think he could be. But I don't think he is. Completely different spirit about him. And then coming to find out, I think his people, I think he's Irish, I believe. I think so. I might be mistaken about that, because I think my other friend told me. He never told me, I don't think, but I think that might have been Irish. So he definitely possibly could be a Jake. But it's about the spirit, man. You see? This is Romans 8 and 16 says, the spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High. You see? And that's what happens. It's about the spirit, man. If somebody has a different spirit about them than, from what they look like on the outside, and more than likely, if their spirit bears witness with ours, more than likely that person's an Israelite, no matter what they look like. To always make the example, Blake Griffin's son looks like a so-called Edomite, but he's Haitian because Blake Griffin's dad is Haitian. And Blake Griffin doesn't even look Haitian. He looks like he's so-called mixed. He has like the red hair, the freckles, the light skin, but his dad is super dark. But his dad married an Edomite, and she might not even be an Edomite. She might be Haitian, or she might be Jake from one of the tribes. But if Blake Griffin's son continued to keep having kids, the kids is going to look less and less Haitian, but he's Haitian. And then I give also the example of Tia and Tamara. Tia and Tamara looks like the typical so-called light-skinned black woman, but they're Edomites because their dad is an Edomite. You see, it doesn't matter about what she looked like on the outside, man. It doesn't. So, because if you have somebody that comes up to you, talk to you, and let's say you just dibble and dabble with the scripture, when you tell them, and it resonates with their spirit, more than likely, because the truth is only going to resonate, first and foremost, the elect. That's who it's going to resonate with. But then secondly, the elect is only Israelites. So if the truth is resonating when they want to stop doing things and start keeping certain things, and especially if they're calling on names, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, you know for a fact this person is Israelite. Ain't no heathens calling on the names of the Heavenly Father and the Son, man. That's just not happening. Let alone be able to, the fact that if they can break down the scriptures, it has to be an Israelite. Because nobody else can break down the scriptures. Start off with the elect, which is the elect is Israelites. There's not one other nation that can break down these scriptures, man. It is completely locked from them. It's blocked off. Because not even all the Israelites can break down the scriptures. So what makes you think if the Most High didn't give his truth to every single Israelite, what makes you think he's going to give his truth to the heathens? That doesn't even make sense. So you can look like anything, man. Stop with that skin color nonsense, man. I'm probably going to use this as the video, the thumbnail.